Well, guys, I am super excited to be here today. And, well, looks like we're all back. We're just going to dive right in. I did have some slides before that, but that's fine. All right, well, listen, guys. I want to start by asking you guys a question. And it's an unusual question, I'm not going to lie. So. What is creativity without a market? As a starving artist, right? Well, that's what I want to talk about really quickly to you guys. A starving artist is an idea that is promoted by, I wouldn't say it's promoted, but it's out there, man. Every artist has that burden on them, feeling like, am I going to be able to make an impact with the talents that I have? Because every artist has a talent set. Every artist has gifts that he's born with. And just like anyone else with gifts, we want to make an impact. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to make a lot of money, but we want to do something with what we were born with. And that's a burden I struggled with a long time since I was born, is seeing people around me that just were getting nowhere with their art. Their art was sitting on shelves and sitting in galleries and no one was looking at them. So what I'm going to talk about today is why I love graphic design. I'll talk a little bit about some of the pieces that I've made. Graphic design to me overcomes that barrier about the starving artist, because I think the main issue with starving artists is this point right here. Our point of view handicaps us sometimes as artists. And I think sometimes we want to take these ideas, these passions, these dreams, these visions, these experiences we've had, we want to portray them to an audience. We want to communicate them to people. But so many times our idea gets lost in translation, because people that are not in the art community don't always see the vision that we want them to see. Whether it's just because they don't understand art, or maybe they just don't think it's very important, which I think is not true. I think art is absolutely important, and it has the power to do amazing things. It's unfortunate that the art department is always the last one to get cut, or the first one, sorry, first one to get cut. I think it is, really, because art has such a great place in our community. So let me talk a little bit about why I love graphic design. In summary, I think graphic design is the bridge between the world of art and the real world that everyone else lives in. Anyway, not that we don't live in the real world, but the world that everyone else that isn't art inclined lives in, you know? I think it's a universal language, like I said in my essay, something that we can communicate ideas from someone else's perspective, not an artist's perspective, but we can show something that everyone can understand, everyone knows what you're trying to say, and we can move the world with it. I love it so much. So let me talk to you guys about this first piece. Alright, so the first piece I want to talk about, I made this for a apparel store. This is a brand, it's not an actual brand, it's just an idea we were working on in class. And the idea was a fashion apparel store with a built-in nightclub. Now, I'm not going to condone it, but that's the idea. And we're targeting young people, obviously, and so we were going for a very edgy, bold feel. So I really wanted to communicate that in my piece. So I started thinking of how I could do that. And so I used a lot of sharp edges, and very bold, contrasting color schemes, but very simple, because I think simplicity has a very big place in the market that I'm trying to drive into with this. It's something I wanted to keep it on the viewer's mind, but not so complex that the message gets lost. So that's what I had here. Move to the next one. Here I have a t-shirt design that I did for one of my favorite musicians ever, Lecrae. He's a Christian rapper. And I really like music a lot too. I love writing in English, so to me it's a passion of mine. So we did a t-shirt design for him. And I really wanted to go for something very unique because I just wanted it to stand out from a lot of t-shirts. And so I used typography, which I really love to use because it combines the elements of grammar and English with art, which I think is amazing. So what I did here was I tried to start off with the base. You have words that are symbolic of the things that he stands for. And y'all may not understand all those words. Some of them have to do with his record label and stuff like that. But those are words that are like the foundation of what he does. Then you have him right beside those things, just as equally important to the foundation of what he does. And then almost at the very top we have hip-hop, which is obviously what his music is all about, you know. And then at the very top, coming right through the center of his work, is the cross, which exemplifies everything that he stands for, and it really unifies the piece as a whole. So from a visual standpoint, I feel like it looks good, and the reflection also symbolizing his passion to reflect Christ and his ministry. And for me, this was a piece that not only was symbolic, but it was something that would look good aesthetically on a t-shirt. So, move to the next one. This is a piece I did for a famous author. Obviously, you guys know Edgar Allan Poe. That's the artist that the writer that I chose. I wanted to convey the darkness of his pieces through use of a black background. Then, for the type in the background, I wanted to do something that was a little bit better than white, but it was still a neutral color, so make sure that the words could come through the right way. So it's a neutral colored background with the kind of contrasting crow piece in the background, kind of, with the words to go on. And the crows there, or rather the ravens, I should say, is obviously due to his most famous work, The Raven. Along with the quote you can see at the very top of the piece. And actually, it may be kind of hard to see, but in the background of that text, it's actually a collage that I put together of illustrations from his various works. So that's kind of like another thing that represents who he is. And then obviously at the very bottom we have this sharp, contrasting black and white image of Poe, which I felt like really brought together the color scheme of the piece and really drew the eye to that. So. Alright, I think that's all the pieces I have on my slide, but I actually have 3 pieces back here. I apologize if they're a little small. I wasn't quite sure how big I needed to make them, so I'm just going to wait for this to go up.